Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my channel if you are new here. I am Martina Lily and today we are doing a full face of Natasha Denona. I asked you guys what brand you wanted to see next in my kind of like full face series that I do, and this was a resounding vote. Natasha was definitely voted the highest, so that is what we are doing. Now hopefully that sounds interesting to you guys. If it does, go ahead and do the YouTubey things like subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let's get started. Super quickly, before we zoom on in, I wanted to show you guys I do have some new merch. So I finally got the makeup and coffee t-shirts, if you will. I can't zoom fully out, but these are up live now on the merch site. There's different colors, well, at least black and white. I don't know off the top of my head the other colors if I've picked any. There's also long sleeve tops if you're like me going into winter, and there is also new tumblers and stuff that are pretty cool. So that's all should be linked. Well, there's a shop my merch link in my description box always. There's also you can see the products if you're on YouTube. You can scroll and see them to shop through them if you wish to support my channel and pick up any merch. And if you do, thank you so much in advance. No pressure obviously, just if you want to. And if you do, don't forget to take a pic and send it to me pretty please. Alrighty, let's zoom in now. Everything I use on my face today will be linked in the description box down below for you guys. They are affiliate links, so if you shop through them, thank you so much. I also have a discount code which is Martina Lily with Natasha Denona, and I think it usually gets you 15% off. It might have dropped to 10%, but I'll put that in the description box, but it does get you a discount if you shop directly on Natasha Denona. So if you use it, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'll also have everywhere else that you can shop Natasha Denona around the world as well, wherever I can find it linked down there for you. Because we have folks from all over, which is awesome, that watch this channel. I have nearly every product that she's released, at least more the newer ones. There's a few older products that I don't really have, like the single bronzing powder and the old kind of blush palettes and stuff. But I have enough for pretty much a full face. I know she has foundations, but from what I can see, they're getting discontinued, and I didn't want to pick one up to review for it to be discontinued anyway, because you can't really get them everywhere anymore from what I can see. So I don't have one of her foundations. I do have her powder foundation, which I've got a full in-depth review on my channel if you're wondering. I actually have a Natasha Denona playlist on my channel, so I'll link that in the description box if you want to check out other videos on Natasha Denona products and a lot of looks using my palettes. What else don't I have? I don't have any brow products from her or a mascara. I don't even think she has those products. Could be wrong. I think that's about it. She doesn't also really have cream bronzer and stuff from what I could see, but yeah. So I have mostly everything though. Okay, we're going to do eyes first. Now, I'm not going to do a ranking in this. I know you guys are going to want to see a ranking, and I know probably my #1 comment down below from you guys after this video will be, can you do a Natasha Denona ranking? Yes. I've been procrastinating on it, but yes, I can. So I'm just going to give you guys a quick overview of my knowledge of her eyeshadow palettes. I'm not 100% an expert, keep that in mind. I'm not a makeup artist, I'm just a makeup lover here sharing some fun. Natasha is definitely a luxury beauty brand, and she is a makeup artist turned brand owner. And she really got her start with her eyeshadow formulas. She started with her Sunset palette, which was a bigger palette. I don't actually have that palette, but it came in this kind of leathery type packaging with the bigger pans. This one is the gold palette, but it came in this format. She released that one, and it was really expensive at the time. It was an expensive eyeshadow palette at the time. I remember Tarte and everyone reviewing it back then being wow, this is expensive. And I also remember everyone just absolutely loving it, loving the formula, and she really, Natasha Denona really became this big cult favorite for eyeshadows. She then released the Lila palette, which I had back in the day. That was my first Natasha palette, and I don't know if it was my experience back then. I was very, very new to makeup back then, or if I got a dud, or I just didn't like the formula of that palette. I loved the color story of the Lila palette. They were very unique, especially at the time. It was a very unique palette, but it just did not perform for me. I really didn't enjoy using that palette at all. And then from there, I actually took a large break from Natasha Denona for a while after that palette. And then I believe I got the Glam palette from her, and that started this intense love affair. So the Glam palette was one of my is still one of my top favorite Natasha palettes. It's impeccable. The quality is insane. And then basically from there, I've just nearly gotten every single palette. So that's kind of the backstory. One of the things I love most about Natasha and her eyeshadow palettes is she doesn't kind of like sleep on her laurels kind of thing. Each palette she brings out, especially lately in the past year or so, she has been introducing new formulas, new textures in each palette. And the other thing I love is that she really brings out a huge variety of color stories. Sure, there are some similarities throughout the collection, but I think she's done a really good job at creating a multitude of different color stories of palettes that suit a variety of different skin tones and preferences and people, while still catering to the everyday makeup wearer or someone that maybe doesn't want a heap of color. But then she also does have some colorful palettes if you are that way inclined as well. One of the biggest things I appreciate about Natasha though is her commitment to improving her formulas, the textures, and introducing those new things. She's really, for me, hitting it out of the park with her products lately. She kind of has a few different sizes. She has the bigger palettes, like her OG big palettes. They might actually have been even the first palettes she brought out, apologies. And I just have never picked them up. She also had the Star palette, which I believe she kind of reformulated and re-released. And then she also has her bigger palettes like this. So this is like the gold one in kind of the old style she has with this like leather packaging. Now these bigger palettes are getting fewer and further in between. They used to come out quite regularly. I don't know if she's even slowly phasing them out. I actually agree with the phase out of these palettes. These are usually over 200 Australian dollars, and I think about 125-ish US, the bigger palettes. And I just think with the midi palettes being about 69 USD and 120 or 110 Australian, which I'll show you in a second, I think the midi palettes are a lot better for the everyday consumer. I know I personally love the midi palettes more. I don't need such large palettes and I don't need such large pans. I really like the midi ones, especially for that price point. She did transition though from this kind of leather packaging to your kind of hard pan packaging, which I really like. This is the Bieber palette, a must-have in my personal opinion from the Natasha Denona collection. If you are someone that just wants to wear like kind of browns and stuff like that on the everyday, this is really a palette that you can just have and you don't need any other palette in your collection. Formulas in here are creme de la creme. This is one of those palettes that's really just worth it. It's a staple, especially if these are your kind of colors. But she did move to this kind of like harder packaging, which I personally do prefer. Just, it's sleeker, it's easy, it's just easier. I just like it more. She did have a moment where she released a palette like the Metropolis palette. I said that weird then. Now the pan size in Metropolis, this color story is amazing. I mean, look, this is discontinued now, but it's phenomenal. Has that kind of leather packaging. The pan size of these is actually the midi palette pan size. So I really love that this is kind of like one of those bigger palettes, but smaller pans and you get more colors. She's not really done off the top of my head, maybe the Star palette, but even that was a different layout. Off the top of my head, she hasn't done another palette like this. I actually would like to see another palette like this. I think this one's really worth the money because you get so many colors and so many different textures in here. It's just absolutely beautiful. And then she also has like the Cult Classic midi formula, which is this one right here, where you do get the smaller pans, the different textures, different color stories. And in all of these palettes that I have just shown you, you can actually pop out the shadows. So each of these pans, in the midi and the bigger ones, they have little holes in the back here and you can pop them out so that you can mix and match them within your collection, which I think is phenomenal. I think it's such a unique standpoint for a brand. I mean, maybe not crazy unique, I know a lot of brands do it, but in the sense of she has so many palettes and so many like different color stories that to be able to pop those pans out and mix and match and really create your ideal palette from that is such a genius idea to me, and I absolutely love it. I love making my own like Natasha Denona palettes, if you will. I really think it was such a genius move. She also has her little mini palettes, which are just like little itty bitty kind of snapshots of her bigger palettes with the color story. So for example, you'll notice that within her collection, she usually does like a mini, midi, and a bigger one. I think the bigger ones are getting phased out, which makes sense to me, but that's kind of how it has roughly gone. So for example, this is the mini gold, which absolutely gorgeous. They usually, sometimes they have kind of maybe 1 or 2 repeat shades from the bigger palette, but usually these are like 5 new shades, usually give or take. There's a couple of dupes within the collection throughout all the minis, but it's like a little taster of one of those bigger palettes. Maybe you can't afford a bigger palette, maybe you just love that palette so much you want the little extra theme on it, maybe you have the bigger one but want a little mini one for travel, whatever it be, you know, she offers those different sizes, which I really like. So this is like the mini gold, for example, and then this is the big gold, let's call it, so you can kind of see the theming here. And then she has just announced last week when I'm filming this, a midi gold, which, to be fair, the midi gold does have, I believe off the top of my head, like 8 shades repeated from this, which I get because this is also discontinued, so I think it's to replace it. So if you have this one, you might not need the midi one, but I will get it and we'll put that to the test. Sometimes the mini ones, like for example, the mini retro palette, let me show you. So the mini retro was actually the first of its color story to kind of come out. It didn't have a midi or a bigger one originally, and everyone just absolutely loves this color story. So much so that when she announced that she was releasing her midi retro palette, everyone was like, yes. Then they saw it and was like, what? Because the color story between the midi retro and the mini is quite different. But I mean, I get it in the sense like the retro palette is, I could see the train of thought. I think it was just a lot of people weren't expecting it to be like an all purpley berry kind of cool tony color story. And I think her answer to, I guess, that feedback, which does show that she listens to the fan feedback, is the Glam Retro Midi palette, which I guess has more of that kind of greeny, pinky influence as well. So you kind of have those 3 color stories, which I appreciate. One note about the minis that I would personally love to see change, just selfishly, is that you can't actually remove these pans. So they don't have the little holes in the back to remove them. They are glued in, which I do get there for travel and stuff, so you want them to hold in there, but I would like these to be removable as well, just so you could add these kind of shadows to the rest of your collection to create that ultimate palette, or mix and match the minis as well. But that's a personal preference. Within the Natasha Denona formula, you do have quite a few different formulas. Her biggest kind of most notable ones, I guess, is her powder matte shades, which are absolutely beautiful, creamy, blendable. And then she has ones that are like these, which are your cream to powder formulas. And you either love or hate them from my, like from what I see online and stuff. I personally absolutely love them. They very much remind me of like that Lisa Eldridge matte formula, the Clé de Peau matte formula, that kind of like luxury type formula, if you will, for lack of a better wording. She was definitely probably the first one that I've seen or tried to do the cream to powders. I think they're great. You get a little bit less fallout. They're just smoother on the eyes. I don't know. I personally love them. I do know that they can take a minute to work with. I don't have any issue. I just use them like a normal bat, but they can just take a slight minute to adjust to how to use them. I find a light hand goes really a lot better with them than even more so these ones. They're not as like pigmented, if you will, but I just find them to be absolutely gorgeous. They don't crease on my eyes or anything like that. And then she has a variety of different types of metallics and satin formulas throughout her collection, and each kind of palette she seems to lately be releasing newer formulas. For example, with the I Need a Nude palette, she introduced a foiled metallic like formula, and then also a, what is it, a wet, I'm going to put them on the screen, but there was like 2 different kinds of new metallic formulas to her various ones. And she has all this information on like the outer carton when you purchase the palettes, also her website and everything like that. She has a multitude of resources for you to learn more about her products. She also has a heap of like tutorials and everything on her Instagram, on her YouTube, that kind of a thing. So you really can like get her products and like see how she uses them and follow along and that kind of a thing. The other kind of palette that she's recently been introducing to her collection, she started with this one, is the kind of glam face palettes, where she incorporates some type of face products. This is a cream blush and a powder blush. What am I talking about? A cream blush and a powder highlight. And then she has kind of your eyeshadow color story. Now these eyeshadows are absolutely gorgeous and spectacular. Did not love this cream blush formula. It was like way too putty and like hard like, but I liked the highlighter. And then most recently, she also has released, one of these in a medium dark version, and then she had the Love face palette, which I didn't pick up because it just wasn't my color story. And then recently she brought out the Hypernatural face palette, which is absolutely gorgeous. I don't recommend it if you don't want a more natural type eyeshadow formula, not necessarily color story because these are quite deep, but just formula. They're not a cream to powder, but they're almost a cream while still verging on a powder. It's quite odd. And then this one's a bit more of like a topper. Personally, really love these shadows. I think they are stunning, truly stunning, especially if you are more of a softer makeup wearer, a natural makeup wearer. I think they're gorgeous. The only thing I would say is that I do find them to fade a little bit quicker than her other shadows on the eye, so I really recommend using like an eye primer and stuff, but other than that, I love the formula. And then this is a bronzer and a powder highlight, and these formulas, they're brand new to her collection. They are gorgeous. I really hope that she brings out a line of these bronzers and blushes in her, like in singles, and expands the shade range because it's an exceptional formula, but we'll get to that when I go to use them. So I think that kind of encapsulates all of the eyeshadows and stuff like that. Let's actually do a look now. So I'm going to start off with my Sigma eye primer. As I said, everything I use will be linked down below, including all the products that aren't Natasha Denona. I'm going to use a mixture of I Need a Nude and also Yucca, because I'll be honest, they're probably my two faves, at least right now. I just love these color stories. Like, they're two very much me color stories. I love and adore them. I am going to start out with this shade right here, which is called Mesh, with a Refa 16. And I'll just start by lightly buffing this through the crease. Hopefully that explanation on her shadows was helpful in some way. I'm not really an expert, so, you know, be nice if I've got something wrong. I'm not like too much of an expert. I can just tell you how I feel about her products. I'm just going to pop this on the outer corner here too. Her shadows are definitely more pigmented than like most, so if you're used to like a luxury formula like your Tom Fords, your Chanels, your Dior's, these are a lot more pigmented than that. So just make sure you go in with like less is more, start a little bit, and then you can build from there. But they do blend incredibly easy, her mattes. They will honestly blend themselves. Now I'm going to go in with a Ray Morris number 8 eyeshadow brush. I think I want to go in with a touch of this one right here actually, which is Acacia. Also, I might look like I have some hard pans. That's not from Natasha. Like you can see, that one did have a slight hard pan. Now it's gone. It's from when I swatched them. If I haven't dried like my hand properly or something. So I'm just going to use this to slightly deepen up through the crease, mainly concentrating it out here. This Yucca palette, like honestly, I personally think it's really quite innovative, the color story for what's on the market, and I love it. I love the way that it performs. It's exceptional. This was like her foiled wet metallic or foiled metallic formula that she brought out. Well, not Ray specifically, but the others. I think it's incredible, and it's just a color story of my dreams, I'll be honest. I love these kind of like greeny army cool tones. And again, like her formula with every palette just gets better and better and better. All her formulas are pretty good from what I've tried, apart from like I didn't love the Leela palette formula, but they just keep getting better. Like she just keeps enhancing this formula. It's so good. I also don't think I think you can be like a beginner to eyeshadow or not so confident in eyeshadow to, you know, a proper makeup artist and still really love these formulas. I think they're very, you know, easy and fuss free to use. Look at that, so pretty, stop it. Now I like to use my Pat McGrath Labs Intensify stick. You don't need to do it with a Natasha shadow, but I do have hooded eyes, so it just extends that wear time for me and stops any potential creasing for my hooded eyes, which is why I like to use it, and stops any like kind of speck fallout, but it's up to you. You don't have to use it. Okay, this is where I've been having trouble because I want to use so many different shades. So I'm going to take a Refa 2 now, and I'm going to go into, I think I really just want to use Mackie right here first, which is kind of like a greeny gold, olive greeny gold, if you will. This is one of those foiled metallics, and I'm just going to tap it lightly on here. I don't want to go too pigmented. just a softer look. Oh yeah, that's very pretty. Oh, I like that. That's really pretty. I do love this shade. As I said, I love the Yucca palette. Love it. And then because I'm extra, I'm just going to flip that brush over to the other side, and I'm going to take Komorebi, I never know how to pronounce it properly, and I'm just going to pop that on top as a scatter, because why not? Why not layer them? We have them. Oh yeah, that's pretty. That adds, you might not be able to see that shift of it on camera, but it just adds a little something. Now I've just got that Ray Morris 8 again, and I'm going back into Acacia. I'm just going to marry that outer corner a little bit. Just right here. Oh, I just love how these shadows go together. They're so pretty. We're going to leave the eyes there for now, and we're going to move on to our face now. So she has, I think this is maybe her only current primer. This is the Gen Skinglass Primer that's looking, you might not be able to see it super well with my lighting here, sorry. I think it's looking a bit light, but that's okay. So this is an energizing and hydrating primer serum, and this does have a little bit of fragrance in it. I can get away with wearing it though, but just in case you're super sensitive to fragrance. And this is kind of what it looks like. And it took me a little while to try this because it is very kind of glowy looking. And that always makes me nervous just because it's a slippery slope with my combination skin. And I tried it because I did a video of like trying my favorite YouTubers, like favorite products for some year, blah, blah, blah. And when I tell you, this primer took me by surprise. It does get really good reviews. So I'm just going to drop it onto my Sigma F80 Kabuki brush. It gets really good reviews. And I have to say, I get why. I can't tell you the science behind it, but anytime I wear this primer underneath foundation, my skin looks flawless. Truly flawless. It really does. It makes my foundation look absolutely gorgeous and just wear really well. I don't know what it is. It's baffling to me, but it really is a primer that looks lovely and works super well. It does make my skin look very glowy, and like it does kind of, if I was to wear this on its own, it does enhance like kind of texture. Granted, my skin looks a little rough today. I had sugar yesterday for the first time in a while. So my skin's kind of like, don't like you today. But while I wouldn't wear this on its own with like, say, you know, sometimes some people might wear this product. I could see like if you're dry skin, you might wear it on its own just to give it a little bit of like glow to your skin. I wouldn't do that personally. It's too glowy. But I don't know, the way that it wears under foundation, so good. So good. Now this is just the Refi Eye Balm, which I am loving. I have a review of this up on the channel if you're wondering, in like a new makeup video. And then this is just my Tarte green color corrector because I need it today. I did forget to mention, apologies, this is the Natasha Denona Gen Skin Infuser, which I already also have a review of this one up on my channel as well. And she does say in the product description of this one that you can use this as a primer, and it's supposed to like blur pores and stuff like that. I have no idea about the claims as a primer of this product because it does have coconut in it. So I can use it strategically as a highlight, but if I put this on as a primer, it is going to break me out. So I don't know about this one as a primer, but you can just FYI use it. So if you have it and you've used it as a primer, please let us know what you think of it. Now, under eye color corrector, I do not ever do my makeup without a color corrector on my under eyes in particular. I think they just make such a difference for my darkness and my hyperpigmentation. And this one from Natasha Denona is exceptional. So this is the Gen color corrector in High Glam, correcting concealer in C1. So she has a full shade range of the color correcting shades, which I think is awesome. I'd even love to see them expanded a little bit more, if I'm being honest, to see like maybe some more pinky tones and stuff like that in there as well. This is a great product. It goes so well underneath concealer. Like, it does not impact the formula of concealers or anything at all. wears super well, great color correcting shade. My one complaint for me and my skin is maybe slightly too deep. I like to mix it with a little bit of my Rare Beauty Light Brightener, because this is a MY4, by the way, because then it just lightens it just a touch. So like I said, I would like to see the shade range just expanded a little bit for a slightly lighter version of this, and maybe even more pinky one. But this is one of the best color correctors around. It really is. It's absolutely incredible, especially if you're looking for just a nice like doe foot liquid applicator one. You don't want like a cream one. It's brilliant. Like, look at that. It is really a great formula. Very, very close formula to the concealer as well. For foundation, like I said, I don't have one, and I'm not using the powder foundation. I do have a full review of that where I use it as a powder foundation and do a wear review, or a wear test, sorry, but like I don't like it as a powder foundation for my skin. I really don't. So, well, don't like is a strong word. I don't love it. It's not my fave. So I just have actually the new Chanel Beiges Healthy Glow foundation they just released. I've just got a tester, so I'm actually just going to put this on today. So I'll just speed through me doing my foundation because this is not Natasha. This High Glam concealer, so this is the High Glam concealer in the shade N2. It's a touch too deep for me on its own. I kind of need to get N1 and N2, but I was going to for this review, but N1 in Australia is sold out. It's just a touch too deep, but we can make it work. I know so many people just absolutely love this concealer. I do quite like it actually, and I think it's just that the shade is a little bit too deep that it throws me off, but the more I've used it, the more I've really liked it. But I will say I also love this intensely. If you know me, if you've been around my channel, I love a good mixing concealer. It's just my BK 109. I love to mix all of my products, and especially my concealers, to create like my ultimate kind of concealer. And this particular concealer mixes so well with every kind of concealer, especially if you have one that you want to add like a little bit of hydration to. It's really the perfect concealer for that. But I know a lot of people even love this as like a foundation and like to just kind of dot it all over their face and use it as a foundation. And I agree, like I didn't give it rave reviews when I first tried it, but I will admit that the more and more I use this concealer, the more and more I like it, like, or at least over that time. Now I just really enjoy it. And it's actually a concealer, again, I would repurchase just because I think it's one of those kind of core staples in a collection. I really do. It looks really just nice and hydrating and lovely on the under eyes. It really does wear quite well. And I just really enjoy it, and I do need to pick up, I think, just a touch of a lighter shade to mix with it. That's a very me thing. I just find I'm never a perfect concealer shade. It's really quite hard for me, especially with the discoloration on my under eyes. I do like to do 2 layers of this. It is a medium coverage. I might actually just put a little bit even just here and here and here, because that foundation really didn't have a lot of coverage. So it's a good reason, a good way to do it. So I'll just blend this out. But yeah, I think I know so many people just love this concealer, and I can see why. It's a really, really good product. And I will say the Natasha Denona complexion products, they were definitely something that were quite miss for me. I really never used to vibe with her older complexion products, but now since she's been doing the High Glam and the High Gen kind of line, I've definitely find this formula a lot better. And I know that's been a lot of people's feedback for Natasha Denona, and her brand is like her complexion products. While her eyeshadows, she nails it, the complexion products hadn't been the same. But I think she's definitely getting there with her complexion products. They're definitely getting really quite good. Okay, setting powder. So I do have the foundation, which I will use as a setting powder for most of my face. It's a little bit light, to be fair, but that's okay. But for my under eyes, I do not like this powder foundation on my under eyes, so I'm just going to quickly mix my favorite concoction at the moment, which is my Make and my McGrath Labs together, and I'll pop that on the under eyes. This is just an MY13, by the way, my Kitco Danessa brush. This powder foundation, so I have the shade N1, and it's a little bit too light. I did originally purchase this for my T-zone because that's how I like to use powder foundations personally as like a little bit of extra coverage through the T-zone and stuff, but it is a little bit light. I will use it to set the rest of my face though, because we'll just use bronzer to bronze it up, that's fine, but it will look a little bit too light, just FYI. So I'm just going to use this MY15 from Danessa in My Kit Co and just kind of lightly tap this around the perimeter to set where we didn't put any of the other one. So in my full review, I really kind of explained why personally for me, I don't super duper love this. I will say, I can see a lot of people liking this. I can see if you have dry skin, you're probably like, you're crazy, this is amazing. I really can. I think if you have dry skin, it's really probably a powder foundation for you because it's actually quite hydrating. It really is. And that's my problem because I do have combo skin, especially through my T-zone here. It's too hydrating. It just like kind of breaks up and wears away and stuff. So while it's not a product for me, I don't hate it. And I can see myself like in the dead of winter when my skin gets super dry or dry, I can see myself leaning towards this more, just not when my skin is oily through the T-zone or it's like humid or anything like that. But I can see how a lot of people will potentially really rate that powder foundation. I'm just going to quickly go off camera and do brows because I don't have any Natasha brow products, and then we will carry on. We have brows. Now I'm just taking this Sigma E36 and we're going to go into the I Need a Nude. I'm actually going to mix Mesh and this one, which is called Stone, together, and I'll run this underneath my lower lash line. So we'll finish the eyes now. Just a teeny tiny little pencil brush, and I'm going to go into Acacia, which is the little greeny khaki colour. And I'll just smudge that in here too. For the inner corner, I'm going to take Sheen, I think, right here with a Sonia G pencil brush. Pop that in here, just a teensy weensy bit. I don't have a like black or brown Natasha eyeliner. I have these two colors right here, which to be fair, these are not going to suit this look. So I'll swatch them so that you can see. These actually came with the Yucca palette. They were released with the Yucca palette. I don't even know if you can still get these, to be fair. So they're the two that I have, which I really like. So the orangey color is called Fuchsia, and then this one's Camu Camu, and I really enjoy them. It's not my all-time favorite eyeliner formula. It is lovely. It does irritate. The orange one doesn't irritate my eyes, but the acidy kind of Camu Camu one can slightly irritate my under eyes, or my eyes, sorry. So yeah, it's not my favorite eyeliner formula. I wouldn't pick up any other shades. If you have sensitive eyes, I much prefer the Victoria Beckham ones, the Lisa Aldridge, the Bobbi Brown, that kind of a thing. So I'm going to put Bobbi Brown Jungle on my top waterline. And then I'm going to put Sweed Mink, Greige Mink, or Mink Greige on the lower waterline. And then this is the Sweed mascara, because I don't actually think Natasha's ever released a mascara, has she? Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong about that, which is interesting because she does so many eyeshadows. You would think she would also do a mascara because it's such a critical part of the eye look, right? I mean, I think the eyes are looking real nice, but that's just me. Okay, so the bronzer that I have is in the Hypernatural face palette, this one right here. I personally just like to mix these two shades because these are surprisingly a lot more pigmented than you probably think. I'd really love to see a like individual compacts of these two formulas in like full shade range of both, because I think this formula is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Airbrushing, soft, lovely. It's really an impeccable formula. So this is a BKN 15, and I'm just mixing the lightest and middle shade, and I'm just gonna bronze myself up. See how soft and like airbrushing the formula is? Truly, truly, truly impeccable. Hopefully she was just testing the waters with this palette, seeing how people like the formula before she like comes out with the full shade range. Hopefully she's already working on it. I have a couple of highlighters from Natasha. I have the My Dream face palette, which has it's like a cream to powder blush, a cream highlight, and a powder highlight. And I love, like, look how much I've used of this cream highlight. I love it. I love it. It's such a beautiful formula. Again, one I would love to see expanded on and have singles. Then I have the mini My Dream blush and highlight palette, which this is a blush and highlighter. So like, you can use them all three. I personally just like to use these two as a blush and this as a highlighter. It's very pretty. Great formula, very similar to the one in the bigger palette. I have the Plexi Glow, which came out with the mini pastel collection, which I know a lot of people kind of don't love as much. I actually really like this one. I think it's truly stunning. And then I also have the Gen, which is the newest one, and this is like a gel formula. And I do have a review, and I've used this in quite a few videos, and it is very, very pretty. It really is. The more I use it, I like to use it with a sponge, and then I like it quite a bit. But I'm still gonna be honest, I really do like the Plexi Glow a little bit more formula, but that's just me. I am gonna use the cream formula from the My Dream trio because I really love this. I really, really do. See, it's so natural, this cream highlight. She needs to come out with this in singles as well. I know there was the Berry Pop palette or something, I think it was called, that she just released, which looks stunning, but I just think it'd be way too deep for me and I won't use it. But I know a lot of you like really like it. This is just so seamless and natural on the skin, you guys. Truly flawless. Now for the highlight, I'm gonna do the Gen on one side. Is that what it's called, Gen? Yeah. Gen on one side and the Plexi on the other, just so you can see both. I like to use the sponge. I'm just gonna use a different clean side for this because the gel, I just find with a brush, it goes on a bit textured. With the sponge, it kind of just melts in a little bit more. That's some bling. Still pretty, right? You don't really need to use a liquid highlight, and when you use this one, it's just a bit, I'm just being extra. And then this is a My Kitco MY21 Danessa brush. Oh, I just put way too much on then. Let's see, there we go. Oof. I mean, I put way too much on, so disregard that. But yes, I really love that one. That was a me problem though. I definitely screwed up that application there a little bit. Then for blush, we have this one. They're looking a little bit too bright for me. I think I'm just going to use this little My Dream one because these are just a little bit more neutral for this eye look. This formula is impeccable. It's just a little bit bright for right now for me. So I'm just going to use a Refa 5 brush. Just pick up a little bit. I do not have the puff paints because they seem to get really mixed reviews, and so I've just never tried one. But that's her kind of only cream blush formula that she has. But this formula is beautiful, this blush formula. Like, it's very cloud-like. See that? Stunning. I think that's gorgeous. Gorgeous. She doesn't have a setting spray, so I'm just taking my Urban Decay one. Lips. Now I have two lip liners. I have the My Dream lip liner in Natasha and the Cleo lip liner, 0.5 Cleo. So I'll swatch these. I think her lip liner formula is exceptional, truly. I really, really do. So this one is Cleo. This one is the Natasha My Dream. Very, very similar, slightly different. Same but different, if you know what I mean. I have a type. The only actual lipstick I have of her, is the My Dream lipstick. I love this lipstick that much that I have two. This one did melt in my handbag, but like I only have the smallest amount left, so I'm going to show you. That's how much I have left, which for me with a lipstick, I cannot tell you how good that is because I have so many lipsticks and I'm not a massive lipstick person on the everyday. Like I'll put it on in the morning kind of thing, but then usually for the rest of the day I'll just usually wear a gloss or something. I love the shade of this lipstick. It's probably my most used lipstick. It is my most used lipstick, hands down, sorry, because of the oh my god, I cannot speak anymore because of the shade of it. It's impeccable, and the formula of this is so creamy and just comfortable in the lips. It's fuss free. Like, I love it. I also love the packaging. Like, this one's not as grotty because I've had that one for a while. This is the newer one. Isn't it stunning? I love this packaging so much. And then I also have her gloss in the My Dream trio in Natasha, and this is also a really beautiful gloss. Great shade, but I love the formula of these. It's definitely a true gloss. It's not, it's hydrating and stuff. Like, I definitely feel like it nourishes my lips, but it's also like that kind of stickier gloss formula. You don't really feel like your hair's gonna like stick to your face. It's not all like you get those weird stringy lines or anything like that, but it's stickier than say like a lip oil. But it's also a beautiful formula. So I think if like in her satin lipsticks, her lip liners or her glosses, if there's any shades that like tickle your fancy, go for it. Beautiful formulas, truly. So I'm gonna use the My Dream Lip Trio. One of my favorite things about the Natasha lip liners is just how creamy and easy they are to use, but they also just do not budge. They're great. And then let's use this lipstick. Now, I need to be soft and gentle with this one because it is melted a little bit from the Australian heat. Look at that shade. Stop it. I have ranted and raved about this lipstick for the longest time. It is perfection, truly perfection. I really hope this never goes out. Like, I hope it's not limited edition. And then this is the gloss. Perfection, perfection. Now I feel like we just need a little smidge more blush. So I am actually gonna take this one with my Smashbox cheek brush, just a teeny bit. I just feel like I need a little bit extra. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Let me go do my hair and stuff and we will zoom out and I'm going to give you guys my kind of roundup on the brand. Alrighty friends, this is the finished look. What do you guys think? I really love how this whole look has come together. I really, really do. I think all of the products worked exceptionally well together, which, I mean, I know I used a Chanel foundation, but I think it also goes to show that like all of the Natasha products really have been designed to work well and in sync with each other, which is perfect. That's what you want from a brand. What do I think of this brand? I really, really like this brand as a whole. I love the direction it is going in. I really, really do. I think she's really always been quite incredible with the products that she's released, but I think especially in the past year and a half, 2 years, she's stepped the game up again, and I just love the products, the innovation she's coming out with, the color stories, everything about it. I really, really, really enjoy it. I think she's showing that she's quite in touch with her customer base as well and what they want, which is all you can ask for. I think the brand aesthetic, like all of the products, you look at them and you go, that's a Natasha Denona product. It's beautifully branded and packaged, and the formulas are impeccable. Let me know your thoughts down below. Are you a fan of the brand as well? I mean, a lot of you are. I do know a lot of you are, so yeah. But let me know your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed it and it was just a little bit of fun and inspired you to bring out some of your own Natasha Denona products if you have a heap in your collection, or a few, or one, whatever. If you're watching to this point, you know you're a legend. Thank you so much. I truly, truly appreciate you. Extra special shout out to my Lily Absolute Legends. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for supporting my channel as well as all of my other members, and I just hope that you have the most amazing day wherever you are in the world, and I will see you next time. Bye.